The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Diego Castro, bringing you the biggest headlines from around the world. Russia fires a huge wave of missiles across Ukraine as people slept, killing at least 6 civilians and knocking out power. Kyiv says the attack included 6 Kinzhal hypersonic cruise missiles, one of Moscow's most valuable weapons. The mass strikes targeted areas far from the front, marking the first such wave since mid-February. The attack briefly forced Europe's biggest nuclear power plant off the grid. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says the attack is meant to terrorize civilians and that Russia will not avoid responsibility for their actions. Russia's defense ministry, meanwhile, described it as a massive retaliatory strike as payback for a cross-border raid last week, which it blamed on Kyiv.
The goal was achieved. All assigned targets are hit. As a result of the strike, the bases of attack, unmanned aerial vehicles, were destroyed. The transfer of reserves and rail transportation of foreign weapons was disrupted, and production facilities for the repair of military equipment and the production of ammunition were disabled. High-precision, long-range air, sea, and land-based weapons, including the Kinzhal hypersonic missile system, hit key elements of Ukraine's military infrastructure, military-industrial complex enterprises, as well as energy facilities.
Meanwhile, North Korea fired a short-range ballistic missile ahead of the combined military training exercises between South Korea and the U.S. South Korea reports that the missile was fired at around 6:20 in the evening from an area near the western coastal city of Nampo. South Korean military is also looking into the possibility that the North fired more than one missile. The launch came after the sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un warned of quick and overwhelming action after Washington and Seoul held joint flying drills. A landslide incident on a remote island in Indonesia has killed at least 30 people. The landslide occurred on Serasan Island in the Indonesian region of Natuna after 6 days of torrential rain. Authorities said rescuers are still searching for 24 people who remain missing. Meanwhile, more than 1,200 residents had been displaced and will be relocated to flatter areas with less risk of disasters. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now World. I'm Diego Castro. Violence between police and protesters escalated during a teachers' protest in La Paz, Bolivia. Bolivian teachers took to the streets to protest a new curriculum set by the Ministry of Education. Teachers could also be seen throwing explosives at the police after officers fired pellets at them in an attempt to disperse protesters. Local media reports that at least 2 protesters were arrested for carrying explosives.
That is the government's response. That is the response from the ministry. Only gas and repression. It is an incapable government. A broke government that cannot give responses to the workers. The teachers will massify our fight.
In France, hundreds of thousands of demonstrators also took part in a fresh round of protests and strikes against the government's plan to raise the retirement age to 64. Unions hope the new demonstrations will be their biggest show of force against the proposal. More on that in this report by the Associated Press. Here are the top entertainment headlines we're keeping our eyes on. Israeli leaders say that Chaim Topol, the award-winning Israeli actor known for portraying Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof, has died in Tel Aviv at the age of 87. The two-time Golden Globe winner has ranked among Israel's most decorated actors with nominations for a Tony and an Academy Award. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan announced that their daughter had been christened in a private ceremony in California. Lilibet Diana was publicly called a princess, and the couple revealed for the first time that they will use royal titles for their children. And Oscars host Jimmy Kimmel joins workers for the ceremonial rolling out of the carpet outside the Dolby Theater in Hollywood. Kimmel will host the 95th Academy Awards on Sunday, his third time hosting in total, and his first since 2018. And those are the top world headlines of the hour. Join us again at 9 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. Coming right up is Agenda at 8 a.m. I'm Diego Castro. We are One News. All sides, all the time.